If you're a busy professional who wants to lose fat without starving yourself, ditching your social life, or training 6 days a week, then this is for you. Here's what you'll learn: why your current approach to fat loss is failing, fat loss fundamentals and the sustainable eat more before you eat less nutrition strategy, the best type of resistance training to accelerate results, why cardio is killing your weight loss, and the lifestyle tips that will make this stick for the long term. Most people think fat loss is just eat less and do more cardio. They go all in and then real life hits. Weekends, stress, poor sleep, and they end up back at square one. That was me too. The problem is not effort. It is an all or nothing plan you cannot maintain. So before we touch calories or workouts, you need a clear goal and a reason that actually matters to you. Not, I want to lose weight, but I want to lose 5 kilos so I feel confident again, I have more energy, and I stop restarting every Monday. That why matters, because motivation comes and goes. The system has to survive the days when motivation is low. The goal is not to suffer your way through a crash diet. The goal is to build an approach you can repeat long enough to actually finish. So instead of another hype plan, let's start with the fundamentals: your maintenance calories, your deficit, and the pace that keeps you consistent. Now, fundamentally speaking, fat loss is simple. Energy in must be less than energy out. You burn calories in 4 main ways. Number 1, basal metabolic rate, or your BMR, which is the energy to keep you alive. Number 2, NEAT, which is your daily movement like walking and fidgeting. Number 3, exercise activity, which is your training sessions. And number 4, thermic effect of food, which is digesting what you eat. If you consistently eat less than you burn, you lose fat. But here's what most people miss: as you lose weight, your body adapts. You burn fewer calories over time, so the plan that worked in week 1 can stop working later. That's why plateaus happen. So we're not chasing fast, we're chasing repeatable, and we adjust gradually. Step 1, find your maintenance calories. Before we talk food, you need one number: your maintenance calories, or your TDEE. Your BMR is what you burn at rest, and your TDEE is your BMR plus daily activity. The easiest way to get this is to use a TDEE calculator, plug in your height, weight, age, and activity level, and take the estimate. If you want a rough check, take your BMR and multiply it by an activity factor. So if it's 1.2, you're almost sedentary. 1.4 to 1.55 if you train a few times per week, and 1.7 plus if you're very active. That will give you your TDEE, your maintenance calories. Step 2, set your deficit. A solid starting deficit for most people is 250 to 500 calories per day, or roughly 10 to 20% below maintenance. If you're already fairly lean or lighter, stay closer to 250. If you have more fat to lose, you can usually tolerate closer to 500. And finally, step 3, pick a fat loss pace you can sustain. Your goal is not to lose fat as fast as possible, it's to lose it in a way you can repeat long enough to finish. A strong target for most people is 0.5 to 1% of body weight per week. So if you weigh 100 kilos, that's roughly 0.5 to 1 kilo per week. That's the sweet spot. Fast enough to work, slow enough to stick. Most people ignore this. They rush it, get hungry, low energy, moody, sleep gets worse, then they binge or quit and end up back at square one. If you have a lot to lose, think in months, not weeks. Going slower keeps hunger lower, training stronger, recovery easier, and it lets you live your life while you lean out. And pick an endpoint you can actually maintain, because chasing ultra lean year round usually trashes sleep, mood, and hunger. Now, the easiest way to make this sustainable is to control hunger first, and that's where nutrition comes in. Most people start fat loss by doing the opposite of what actually works. They slash calories, cut out foods they enjoy, then hunger and cravings spike, training suffers, and weekends undo the week. So instead, the strategy is this: eat more before you eat less. That does not mean overeating. It means first building your diet around foods that keep you fuller, support training, and make consistency easier before creating a calorie deficit. In practice, it is protein first, high volume whole foods, a simple meal structure, and then a small deficit. This is how fat loss becomes sustainable, because you are not just eating less, you are eating smarter. The easiest way to apply the eat more before you eat less strategy is to start with protein. Protein is the most important nutrient for body composition because it helps you stay full, recover from training, and preserve muscle while dieting. Aim for roughly 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. If you prefer a simpler rule, aim for around 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight per day. A practical rule is to build every meal around a protein source first. Eggs, yogurt, fish, chicken, tofu, then add carbs, fats, and vegetables around it. And if you struggle to hit your protein with whole foods, whey is just a convenient tool. It is not a fat loss supplement, it simply helps you reach your daily protein target with less effort. For most busy people, one shake a day, especially at breakfast or after training, is enough to close the gap. After protein, fill the rest of your calories with carbs and fats based on preference and performance. If your training feels flat, it is usually because carbs are too low. Fats support hormones, health, and keep you satiated. You do not need perfect ratios. You just need a setup you can stick to while still performing well in training. The key is to keep carbs high enough to train properly and keep fats moderate, because they are calorie dense. If tracking everything feels overwhelming, use a simple plate structure instead. A good rule is 1/3 protein, 1/3 carbs, so for example, rice, potatoes, pasta, oats, 1/3 to vegetables or salad, plus a small serving of fats, for example, olive oil, avocado, nuts, because this keeps meals balanced, support training, and makes portion control easier without turning every meal into maths. Now here's the missing piece. You do not need a perfect diet, you need a few simple habits that make consistency effortless, especially on busy days. First, start the day with protein. A protein-rich breakfast controls hunger later and makes it easier to hit your target. A simple bowl of Greek yogurt and a scoop of protein gives you 40 grams of protein. Second, if you have a sweet tooth, swap sweets for fruit most of the time. You still get the sweetness, but with more volume and fiber and far fewer calories than chocolate, biscuits, or dessert. Third, focus on calories and protein first. Do not overcomplicate it. If your calories and protein are on target most days, you're already doing the big things right. A good rule is most meals from whole foods, leave room for foods you enjoy, and aim for repeatability, not perfection. And that matters because fat loss is never perfectly linear. Your weight can jump up from salt, carbs, poor sleep, stress, eating out, or normal water retention. That does not mean you gain fat overnight. So when progress slows, do this first. Number 1, check your weekly average weight, not one random weigh-in. Number 2, check weekends and snacking. And number 3, give it another week before making a big change. And if progress is genuinely stalled, make one of these small adjustments. Either reduce calories slightly or increase activity slightly. If dieting fatigue builds, a day at maintenance can help, not a binge, just a reset. This can help with energy, training performance, and the mental side of dieting. As your body weight drops, your maintenance calories will also drop. So recalculate and adjust gradually. And the final mistake people make is they finish the cut with no plan for what comes next. Most people regain fat because they hit their goal and go back to normal with no plan. When you finish, do not keep cutting and do not rebound. Go straight to maintenance. Add roughly 200 to 400 calories to your end of cut intake. Keep protein high, keep lifting, keep your daily steps, and expect a small first week scale jump, which will be mostly water and glycogen, and then track your weekly average for 2 to 3 weeks and adjust if needed. This maintenance phase is what keeps you lean long term. Now that nutrition is in place, this is the part most people overlook: resistance training. If you want to lose fat and keep it off, resistance training is absolutely essential, especially for beginners. The simple reason is that muscle burns more calories at rest than fat. So the more muscle you build and keep, the higher your resting burn and the easier it becomes to stay lean long term. But it is not just about calories. If you lose weight without resistance training, you often lose muscle too, which is how people end up with the the skinny fat look. Resistance training helps build that lean, strong, and athletic look as the fat comes off. The good news is beginners adapt very quickly to resistance training at the start, which makes building muscle much easier. So, what is the easiest way to do resistance training consistently as a busy person? Calisthenics. It is time efficient, needs minimal equipment, and is built around compound moves. And it scales forever. You just progress the variation, the tempo, pauses, reps, or add load. Start with 3 full body sessions per week, around 45 to 60 minutes. Each session covers push, pull, legs, and core. Use big basics like rows or pull-ups, push-ups or dips, squats or lunges, and planks or hollow holds. This is exactly what I did in corporate. Full body sessions, often in hotel rooms, just progressing the basics. The key is effort. Most sets should finish with about 1 to 2 reps left in the tank. If every set feels easy, your body has no reason to keep muscle while calories are lower. If the sets are challenging, you keep the signal for muscle retention and growth. Then you make progress over time, more reps, slower tempo, pauses, harder variations, or added load. And the best thing is we filmed 3 30-minute workouts that you can start right now. Just check out the link below. Here's the next trap that everyone makes. They think cardio is the key to fat loss. It feels productive because you're wrecked and sweating, but for busy people trying to lose fat and keep muscle, making cardio the foundation usually backfires. And here's why. It steals recovery from lifting, and it can spike hunger. It increases injury risk if you ramp it up too fast, and it is hard to sustain for months. So what's the actual solution? Steady state cardio. Steady state cardio is low to moderate intensity movement where you can hold a conversation the whole time. You finish feeling better, not broken. Think incline walking, brisk outdoor walks, easy cycling, or easy rowing. Steady state wins because it is repeatable, it does not trash your training, and it's easier to stick to long enough to actually see results. Now here is the real fat loss cheat code: walking. Your body burns a huge amount of calories through NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is basically all movement outside workouts. Walking, stairs, pacing, day-to-day life. When you are in a deficit, your body subconsciously tries to reduce NEAT. You move less without realizing it, which is one reason plateaus happen. This is why steps matter. 10,000 steps burn roughly 300 to 500 calories for most people, depending on your body weight and pace. That is a massive tool for fat loss because you can create a real deficit without wrecking your recovery or spiking your hunger. This is not theory either. Research consistently shows brisk walking produces measurable reductions in body weight and waist size, especially when done consistently over weeks and months. So the hierarchy is simple. Prioritize daily steps first, add a couple of steady state sessions if you want extra burn, and keep HIIT as an optional top up, not the foundation. Here is a simple way to stack it without thinking about it. In the morning, go for a walk 10 minutes after you get up. On your commute, do 10 minutes total. Walk part of the route or park further away. At lunch, get another 15 minutes after eating, and in the afternoon, have 2 5-minute walk breaks between meetings. And in the evening, 20 minutes after dinner, go for a walk. That alone gets most people to the 8 to 10K range without feeling like a workout. At this point, you now have the core fat loss engine in place. Nutrition creates the calorie deficit, resistance training protects and builds muscle, and steady state cardio supports the deficit without wrecking recovery. If the plan is that simple, here is why people still fail. Fat loss is not lost in the gym, it is lost in the hours outside it. When you are tired, stressed, and busy, your discipline drops and the easiest option wins. So the goal is to make the right choices automatic. There are 5 ways to do that. Number 1, if fat loss is a priority, alcohol makes it harder. Not only is it high calorie, but because it wrecks sleep and decision making, it leads to bigger cravings and worse food choices the next day. Even cutting it down during a fat loss phase makes the whole process feel easier. Number 2, temptation bundling. This just means pairing something you want to do with something you need to do. Only watch your favorite show while doing an incline walk. Only listen to your favorite podcast while meal prepping. Over time, effort turns into routine. Number 3, choice architecture. Most people do not need more willpower. They need fewer daily battles. Make overeating harder by removing trigger foods, buying smaller packs, keeping treats out of sight, and make good choices easier, like having protein ready to go, fruit visible, and snacks boring. If stress eating is your pattern, keep a replacement nearby. Walk, stretch, shower. Your environment shapes your behavior. Number 4, sleep and routine. If sleep is inconsistent, fat loss feels 10 times harder because hunger and cravings rise and energy drops. Aim for consistent sleep and wake times most days and keep a simple wind down routine. Dim lights, lower stimulation, reduce screens in the final hour, and avoid heavy meals close to bed. You do not need perfect sleep, you just need reliable sleep. And finally, number 5, accountability and feedback. In other words, stop guessing. You do not need obsessive tracking. You need a feedback loop. Track your weekly average weight, sessions completed, and protein consistency. Weigh up to 2 to 3 times per week or daily if you prefer a weekly average, but ignore day-to-day noise. Watch the trend and correct it early. Use whatever restraint feels least restrictive for you. If that's tracking, an eating window, or a tighter treat control. In other words, the best method is the one you can stick to. So in summary, fat loss comes down to a small deficit you can sustain, high protein to stay full and protect muscle, progressive resistance training to build and preserve muscle, and habits that make the whole thing repeatable. Most people know this though, but they still spin their wheels because their plan does not fit their schedule and they do not know how to adjust week to week when life gets messy. So if you want us to map it out for you, click the link in the description and book a free one-to-one call. We'll build a simple strategy around your lifestyle so you stop restarting and start progressing. And if you found this video useful, give it a like, subscribe, and see you on the next one.